This is Chestnut Checkers.
All right, you ready, Britt?
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you for getting on, everybody. This is the Inside the Sale podcast with Brittany Smart. A lot of people actually reach out to her. She was telling me on Facebook all the time, asking about her sales and leads and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
How many DMs do you get on that stuff?
I get a lot. Honestly, Andrew, I don't open them anymore because it's a lot. If I see an agent's name that I know, then I will definitely respond, and I always try to, but I've turned all my notifications off, and I have like 400
Seriously?
friend requests sitting in Facebook. Because you know what I realize? Facebook only allows you to have like 5,000 friends.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to pick your friends
Yes,
wisely.
I think I'm very selective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So, we decided we were going to talk a little bit about like interesting things in the field, like sales that we didn't think we were going to make. Have you ever gone up to a house and you're like, there's no way I'm going to make this sale, and then something crazy happens, or had a client that maybe was mean, and then next thing you know, they really like you?
Absolutely. We try not to do this, right? We try not to prejudge appointments or prejudge leads or people we talk to over the phone. But, when you have that first interaction with someone over the phone and they're either really reluctant to see you and they're not very nice over the phone, and then in person, they're actually very welcoming. They are buyers.
Yeah. I always said the meaner they are, the bigger premiums they buy.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to come over because they know they're buyers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So true. And then, you have people that are super nice on the phone. Sure, come over. I'm going to be home, all day, or, come over at 3. I'll be there. And then you get there and then they don't buy anything.
Yeah. They're like, they'll let you come over every day of the week, talk to you, give you cookies, and then happily tell you no and to go home.
Yep.
It's funny. Yeah. That's why every time I thought I was going to sell a lead, I would end up not selling it. And every time I didn't think I was going to sell it, I would end up selling it.
It always goes like that.
Yeah. And then when I would be, let's say, like, man, I don't want to go to this mobile home park, I would go in and the person would go, I have an annuity, or I have $350,000 in my, 401k that I don't know what to do with. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I went to this appointment. And it's just crazy how stuff like that works.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, so this is the Inside the Sale podcast. So like raw inside the sale stuff. Let's talk about you going into homes. Were you ever shy where people would kind of like not listen to you or watch TV or not pay attention to you while you were there? Did you ever deal with anything like that?
Yeah, I still get that. I still will walk into homes, and now I'm better at setting the stage. And when I get in a home, I say, hey, Andrew, can you turn off the television? This is very important. I want to make sure that we can hear each other. But yeah, when I first started, I encountered all the same things just as everybody else did.
And what are some things you've learned to do? Like if they say, my wife is busy, just give me the information, I'm the decision maker.
Actually I had this the other day. It was a call-in lead, and I sat with a young guy, and he said, my wife is in the other room and she doesn't want to come out. And I said, oh, well, can you grab her? She wasn't on the loan. And he said, yeah, she just doesn't want to come out. And I said, can you go up and get her? And then I just waited.
You put your head down and just like start writing, or?
No, well, I just looked at him dead in the face and I said, can you go get her?
And then what happened?
And let the awkward pause. He went and got her, and then he came back and he said, she doesn't want to come out. And I said, can you just go grab her for a second? And so he did. And I looked at her and I said, I thought you might want to meet the person that's here to help your family. And in the event that your husband passes away, I thought you'd like to meet me because I'm going to be the one helping you file his death claim.
Dang, that's it. Not only that, you're assuming that you're going to sell them something right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so good. I used to knock on, when I would go to final expense appointments and they would forget that I was coming, they'd go, who are you? Right? And I go, oh, I'm your new insurance agent. I'm Andrew. And I would just walk in the house and I would be assuming that I'm selling them something, that I'm helping them with something the entire time.
And how much has that helped you,
dude,
being assumptive?
Yeah, like I would go in. So when I first got in the business, I was shy and timid, and I told you people would steamroll me. Like they'd be like, yeah, just give me the information on the table. They'd be watching TV and they wouldn't even be paying attention. And then I started using phrases like you, where I'm like, hey, if something happens, I'm the one that's going to help your family. So I need your guys' attention. And what's funny is I asked Sean Mike, so I'm 30 now. I was probably 23 years old, 22 years old. Okay. And I asked Sean Mike, I go, dude, people are watching TV when I'm in these appointments and they're not even listening to me. And I would be sitting on the couch next to him talking, going through the whole presentation, nervous, and they're watching TV, like watching a movie or watching a sports game. And he was like, dude, let me tell you how to do this. And this is like coming from Sean Mike, right? He's like, you pick up the remote and you turn off the TV and you go, hey, I'm here to protect your family. I need you guys to listen up. I go on an appointment. I take the remote and I go, hey, I'm going to turn this, which I didn't just turn it off. I go, I'm going to turn this off because this is super important. I don't want you to be distracted, and it's about helping your family. And I turned off the TV, went through the whole thing, set the posture of them listening to me as I'm the professional, sold a policy, and it was so awesome.
Mm-hmm. I got this question from somebody the other day, Andrew, and somebody said, as being a younger person, people think I'm a lot younger than I actually am. But they said, as being a younger person, do you ever get like, people that don't listen to you, or do you feel like, because you're younger, they don't take you seriously? But, in my opinion, people like youth,
That's what I said.
You're the highlight of their day.
Yeah, I told there was a new agent. He's like 20 years old. And I'm like, dude, people love hardworking young people. So when people always said to me, how are you selling annuities and you're like, how are people listening to you and you're, 20 years old or 19 or 21 years old? And I'm like, dude, I have a huge advantage on everyone else because people want to help hardworking people. Now, people want to help everybody, but I do think someone who's young and ambitious, I think that their close ratio goes up. And I think everyone's close ratio can be really good, but I think that without being really good, it'll still go up.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because you have talked to us a lot about, I remember one of the first times hearing you talk about this was at a conference, and you talked about your closing ratio, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were in the field, and it was around like 25%, 30%.
Right.
So new agents, when they come in, I think they see a lot of top producers who have worked to have higher closing ratios, right? But for some people, it doesn't just start off that way.
Right.
So what are some of the things you did to...
So my closing ratio at first was awful. So I tell a lot of people my first full day of 8 appointments, I sat on all 8 appointments, and the only thing that was purchased was actually nothing. The last person, they said they wanted a plan, and I said, are you sure you want this one, or do you want to look at some other options? And they go, you know what, now that you showed us all those other options, we need to think about it. And I ended up with nothing. So
oh, that crushes you.
Yeah. So I made this like weird decision where I was like, if I don't help them, then like I'm actually doing their family a disservice. So I felt like I was actually doing good, which helped me like push a little bit more in the home and push from a good like view, which was a good like point of view, which was if I would tell them, like, don't take me like getting this done for you and taking care of this for you today as being pushy, but just understand that I'm really passionate about what I do. And I know that if I leave, these papers will go under a bunch of old mail and eventually get thrown away, and your family will end up with no coverage. And so I would I started telling people that. And then when they would go, we need to think about it, I would overcome it. And I would be willing to go through the like awkwardness of overcoming the objections and end up helping them. And what I learned is people actually need to be pushed a little bit.
Yeah. So
I related it to the gym. Like if I go to the gym by myself, I don't push myself as hard. But if I go with someone else, and let's say even a physical trainer, they're going to push me harder than I would push myself. And that's actually good for me. Mm-hmm. So if I'm in a home and I push them a little bit harder, actually they just need that little bit of encouragement and to know they're doing the right thing. And if you're so confident that you are, and the products are so good, then you're just helping them.
Yeah.
And so I would ask multiple times. And then also one funny thing is I stopped letting people like bully me in the home. So I started going, hey, you have to get your wife. We have to pay attention. And I remember this is a crazy, funny, weird situation. But I remember an appointment. The guy was like this big muscle guy. He was like 60 years old, and he had weights everywhere. And he was just like super, like this guy was just shredded for an older dude, right? And his wife is like maybe 10 years younger. And he's like, I make all the decisions, you know. I don't want my wife here or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get fired if she's not here because this has to do with protecting the family, so go get her. So he's like, okay. So he goes and gets her. And then we're sitting in the appointment, and he goes, I can't believe like people wear jeans to clubs nowadays, because I was wearing jeans in the appointment.
Okay.
And he's like, which I was just like, that was weird. And then his wife's like, you SOB, you've been going to clubs again? And then she gets up and she storms out of the house, and he goes, and we were looking at one that was like $100 a month, you know? And he's like, yeah, she's pretty pissed at me. I better get the bigger one. And he ends up getting like the $300 a month premium. I was just like, that's the craziest thing ever, you know?
That's crazy.
But the point is I always set the stage the way I needed it to be set to help him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's okay to have no sales, though. So I was okay as long as I pushed through that. I was okay if the end result was no. But when I went to sleep at night, I knew, like, I didn't just go, hey, here's my business card and call me when you're ready, you know?
So if somebody says that to you, hey, Andrew, you know, this was great, but, you know, we have to think about it. And let's say you overcome all the objections, and you cannot close them. And then do you ever ask for your business card back? They don't. So
I don't even give it to them I don't give it to them when I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. I used to. I gave out thousands of business cards, and guess how many people called me back?
Zero.
And get this. This dude goes, hey, I'll call you or come back over tomorrow. I'm going to have all my friends here. We're going to buy a policy. It was 2 hours away from home. And I go, okay, I'm going to drive home tonight 2 hours, come back tomorrow. All your friends are going to be here, and we're going to, sign you up, right? He's like, yeah. And we already had the application, like, almost complete, right? And I drive home, go to sleep. The next morning, wake up, get ready, put my FFL shirt on, go out to the appointment, and he's not there. And, well, actually, he was there, but he just wasn't answering the door or his phone. And that was the day where I was like, I'm never going to believe that someone's going to call me back and that they really like me ever again.
Did you tell Paul this story and he laughed at you?
Oh, yeah. He's like, dude, I told you. You know? That's crazy. All right. So, Britt, if you have any tips for someone when it comes into going into the home and building rapport, what kind of tips would that be?
Be genuine. Ask genuine questions. And when I get into a home, Andrew, I don't spend a whole lot of time on rapport building at the beginning. I do it as I'm asking questions throughout the financial inventory. So, I'll ask some questions,
That's what I did, yeah.
Yeah, is this your first time purchasing a home, or that they refinance? How long have you lived here? Where are you from originally? When I sit with a husband and wife, I always ask them, how long have you been married? How did you guys meet?
Dude, that's exactly what I did.
Yep.
And then it's just a great story, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I'm talking about, let's say, critical period coverage, if I'm sitting with people, 60 to 85 years of age, and I'm showing them, a coverage to protect their mortgage payments. When I'm talking about losing each other, I'm like, Andrew, you and Nicole have been married for 45 years. So you can imagine it's not only emotionally devastating losing somebody that you've been with for 45 years, but it's also financially devastating, especially if you haven't prepared for it. So saying things like that, and, a lot of times I've been in a home and they look at each other, like so fondly, and they're so proud to say that they've been together for 45 years. And then if you actually paint the picture and say, now imagine tomorrow, Andrew, if you don't come home for work or you die in a car crash tomorrow. You guys have been together 45 years. Like, do you think Nicole's going to have a hard time dealing with that? And the question is absolutely, yeah.
But what is honestly the peace of mind of knowing all the people you care about are taken care of?
It's invaluable.
It's invaluable.
Yeah.
So like this $80 or $150 a month premium where you get all your money back. What is the value of that?
I mean, it's
you can't even put a price on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's priceless. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy. So do you ever tell people like that? Like, this is actually invaluable?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the somebody I sat with yesterday actually he was paying $324 a month for coverage with another company. It was a term policy. It was 30 years. And then he had like disability coverage. So, they come to their job and then they sign up and they give him a big packet. They send it in the mail and he had never opened it after that. So when I'm sitting with him and, when you sit with somebody and they say, yeah, I'm paying like $300 a month in insurance. Oh, do you have the policies? No, I don't have it. So, that's one of the things, right? When you're in the home, you always want them to get up and at least and look for those because that's so important. If I hadn't have had the policies in front of me, Andrew, I would have never been able to close that deal yesterday. And I ended up saving him $106 a month. He gets all his money back. I ended up putting that on Facebook yesterday. $74,000 back. It's a 30-year plan, and guess what? If you don't pass away, you're getting $74,000 back.
So that's a big one. So that's going into a home that you don't think you can help them, but once you go through what they really have, being able to help them. I used to say that if you don't get the policy out that they have, it's like fighting a ghost because it's impossible to overcome something that you don't really know what it truly is, and what they remember it is. Is it ever what they remember?
No. And you're never going to win that battle.
And you'll never win, though. They go, no, you're wrong. This is what it is.
Yep.
So don't even try to tell them, well, you have that policy and it's going to go up every 5 years. Don't ever try to tell them that. Just get the policy or call the company and get the information.
Yep.
What I actually started doing is the opposite. So I would go, oh, you have XYZ policy did you get it through the mail? Yeah. That's an awesome policy. I've heard a ton of great things about that company. They have a great reputation, which is true. Can you grab the policy real quick? And they go get the policy, and then I go, okay, so this is a really, really good policy, but I just want you guys to understand how it works. And then I would go through the page of where the premiums go up, and then they go, oh, we didn't know that. Or they go, we didn't know that was accidental only, or we didn't know this. And then you could truly paint the proper picture of what their situation looks like.
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right. So one thing you said is you build natural rapport. So early on, I tried to build fake rapport. So I'd be like I know nothing about cars. Okay. If they're working on cars, I'd be like, oh, nice car, blah, blah, blah. And it's like fake rapport. Now I go in and I go, hey, I have like 20 people to see. So I'm going to ask you guys these questions real quick, give you the 10-minute overview instead of the 2-hour one. Are you guys okay with that? And what do you think they say?
Yeah, thank you.
They go, 10 minutes? Awesome. So I fly through this thing and build real rapport, because if you ask someone enough questions, you're going to find things you connect with them on, right?
Yep.
So when you're going through the financial inventory, you're connecting on all these real levels. Like, oh, you're originally from here. My family's from here too, from that same city. And then you got real rapport. It's not like, oh, so you're a Raider fan. Awesome. Or whatever, that's huge.
Yeah. And just because, Andrew, you walk into a home and you see that they work out, or you see that they like football, or you see something, it doesn't mean you have to say it right away. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to like make a comment about it or automatically assert yourself in it. I think it's just something that can be brought up along the way, and you mentally take a note of that, and it comes up as a natural process.
Right. And then it's real.
Yes.
And people can feel it when it's real.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up with this. So when I first started, when I got into insurance, I'm on the road a lot, right? And I'm like eating garbage all the time, like fast food, whatever. Tons and tons of like energy drinks and like anything just to keep me going that I thought was keeping me going, right? Then I started gaining weight. And then, well, I don't know if you've ever gained a lot of weight, but I didn't really realize. Oh, you have? Okay. So I didn't really realize I was gaining weight because like when you look in the mirror, you kind of see like your old self. And then it took me to see a picture of myself like years later where it's like, whoa, like I'm borderline like fat, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like confused on why, and then I'm taking a look at my diet and it's just like, you know, fast food, and I'm on the road and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And so I always admired you because you're able to go out and write 40 grand a month, and you're big on a healthy lifestyle in multiple different ways. So do you have any tips on being able to, because you eat good, you work out still, you run your 40 appointments. Do you have any tips on that and what that can do for a producer?
Yeah, I think it's huge because, you know, you're going to perform how you feel and how you feel about yourself. I believe that.
20%, your sales go up 20% based on how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely. So if before you leave your house, Andrew, you just feel like, let's say internally, you feel like, you know, a tired slob or whatever, you know, like how successful are you really going to be?
Not only that, but what I learned for me is if I win on the little victories, then I'm more confident on the bigger victories.
Very true.
But if I flake on getting up when I said I was going to get up, then I'm like already starting my day losing.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm doing all these little things that I tell myself I'm going to do, I just feel like I'm winning, and I just have just this weird different outlook on stuff.
So I'm like of the belief that living a balanced lifestyle and feeling good is about 80% nutrition and 20% of the rest of the stuff, like working out, yoga, meditation, whatever it is. But for me, it's mostly all nutrition. So, you know, when I have typically I'm in the field for 12 hours, I never once stop to eat, ever. I drive on the freeway eating my food, you know, whatever you do when I get
your food though.
Yeah. I use a meal prep service out here in Las Vegas, or I prepare it the night before. And
this is like back to the LeBron James thing you were telling me.
Yeah.
You're preparing for your day.
You know, off season, he lets his diet, he's more lenient. He has wine. He really likes wine. You know, he'll eat different things. But, you know, during season, Andrew, he's very, very, very strict. You know, detoxing his body, recovering. That means not staying up all night partying the night before when you know you have an 8 a.m. appointment and you're running for 12 hours. Like, why would you do that?
I don't know. I used to do it, and it's just...
That's a disservice to the client.
And it's
And yourself.
And yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a self-sabotaging, like, weird thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So how hard is it to prep all your meals or be prepared and just eat on the road? And do you feel like it keeps you... Like, if you think about how much time it takes looking for food when you're in the field...
Yep.
How much time does that save you? And money.
Time and money. Yeah.
How much time does that save you?
It's huge. But you know what? Preparing for the day, just like meal prepping and having everything ready for the day, the next day that you're going to go out. It's just like preparing for appointments. It's just like preparing to make calls. Once you start doing it, you get in that habit, and it's just second nature.
It's like brushing your teeth.
It is. I don't even think about it anymore. I only think about it when I don't have my meals prepared, and I'm like, dang it, you know.
So you bring a bunch of water, you bring your meals.
Yep.
You don't have to think about stopping.
Nope, I never do.
And what's your energy level like throughout the whole day?
It's great. When I'm running appointments, you have to be clear. You know, you can't have a bunch of things that are going to take you up, like energy drinks. You know, I think you have to be careful with some of those because they bring you on such a high, and then like, what do they do in a couple hours? They send you like crashing to the floor, you know? So, I think, you know, not over caffeinating yourself is very important because you're going to be high, low, high, low, high, low all day. So if you're eating good food, and I'm not like saying you have to go crazy and you have to like count out everything and be like insane with it. But, you know, if you're just eating good, solid foods and you know, giving your body just regular nutrition throughout the day, you're going to be fine. You're going to have enough energy to finish the day. I remember something Jack used to tell me, and I never really understood it until I really started running like long days and doing travel trips and just, you know, working for like 36 hours, you know, like pretty much in the field, like 3 consecutive days. He was always telling me that you have to like work up to having that kind of stamina to be able to start early and finish late, and then be able to go back out there the next day and do it. I would never be able to do that if I didn't get enough proper sleep and be able to, and I wasn't feeling my body with what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd never be able to do those things. That's just me personally. I know some people, like I don't know what you ate when you were in the field, but I'm sure you could work for like 10, 12 hours and be straight, but I'm not like that.
Well, what I changed, like I started, what's crazy is my productivity went up and I stopped eating garbage all the time. Like I stopped eating like whatever, Del Taco and In-N-Out and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I started prepping my meals. My energy level went through the roof. Like I started eating healthier, right? I felt way better about myself and my sales went up. My annuity sales went through the roof. Even if you think about what I was doing, I was like managing way more things and I was still getting better in all areas. And I think that it was a big deal because I felt better about myself. I feel like my mind was sharper.
Mm-hmm.
And back to those little victories of just like you're winning on all these little things and I think for me, if I'm winning on all these little things, I'm telling myself that I win. And then I'm going out and like it's no big deal. If I'm losing on all these little things, I should have ate better, I should have woke up earlier, I should have done, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have drank so much, then I'm kind of telling myself subliminally like I'm not winning.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that the better, like, let's say if your performance is high, Andrew, like you're getting really good results in the field, like how does that make you feel?
Great,
right? So why would we harm ourselves and not try to set ourselves up to do that?
Yeah, what's funny is I was telling Sean this, that I was reading about Tom Brady, about his schedule, and it's kind of like LeBron James a little bit. He's like, but what he said in there is he goes, like, my life is kind of boring. Like, I go to bed early, I wake up early, I train, I eat good. But he's like, it's so fulfilling and it feels so good, but it is kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of accepted, like, I'm not going to be, I can't be partying all night long and expect to wake up which would be fun, right? But expect to wake up and go run a bunch of appointments and feel great all day.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the feeling of, I guess that's the whole delayed gratification thing. The feeling of doing something fun, usually after you're like, man, I had so much fun, but I feel like I need to get to work. Opposed to you go do the work, you run the appointments, and you feel great after. And we always used to say, like, even like dinner would taste better if we ran all of our appointments, did what we were supposed to do. Just a simple dinner would taste better than it would if we didn't do what we were supposed to do and we were having that same dinner. We just neglected everything that entire day.
So do you ever just even feel guilty, like you even deserve to eat if you have a bad day?
I've never not thought I deserve to eat, but if I have a bad day, like as far as I don't make a lot of sales, that never made me feel bad if I gave it 100%. But if I knew that like I went home early and I had 3 appointments, and because I've done that before, I've just gone home. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's when I'm like, dang, I should have just stuck it out. So actually, Ben Smith told me this the other day, because we always talk about this. I would rather go on those 3 appointments, even if they were iffy, just to tell myself that I went. I would sleep better, even if they weren't home and I didn't sell anything, than I would if I just didn't go.
It's always that last appointment.
It is, yeah. That last appointment's always a big one. So if you're listening to this and you have a late appointment and it's an hour away and you're super tired and you don't want to go, that's usually the big sale.
Yep, it is.
Cool. All right, Brittany, we are out of time, but thank you for getting on. We're going to do a couple more, but I appreciate all your tips, and I'm honored and excited to be in business with you.
Thanks, Andrew.
This is Chestnut Checkers.